Hi, this is Ferre with Tax Sale Support with another video in our Tax Sale Fundamental series. So for this video, we wanted to talk about online resources for real estate investing in general. Um, these also include though online resources for tax sale investing. But what's interesting about this is to learn how the research works for tax sales is to learn how it works for all real estate essentially. So that's the topic that I wanted to talk about here briefly in this short video. Now, in order to understand, I think, and to really appreciate where exactly the investment is going and what's happening, I think you have to understand a little bit about where it's been. In other words, tax sale investing is evolving. It's changing dramatically from what we originally saw just 20 years ago. It's changed dramatically and it will continue to change. And so we wanted to just talk for just a moment here about how much it's changed in just 17 years. You know, tax investing in 2000, which was around the time period that Steve and I were originally first getting involved with different sales, when we started, it was a completely different type of investment and strategy. The majority of our time was spent traveling, to county record buildings or talking on the phone with county officials or trying to get county officials to fax us information about properties. And that was because uh, the records were all hard copies. And so the only way you could view that record was to either have somebody in the county physically view it or to be there yourself to physically view it. And so, we were constantly trying to get counties to do things to save us time. But the reality of that was that with the resources we had at the time, researching a list of maybe just 20 properties is something that would take several days and hours and hours of work. It would take a lot of calls and possibly even travel as well, in order to complete. Um, so much has changed since that time period, and the internet is only making it easier. That's something else to understand about tax sales and tax liens and deeds in general, is that the changes that we're seeing right now are only making the investment more accessible and easier for people to do. And I believe that that will continue to be the case, and it will just simply get easier and easier, which is really what's happened here over the last 17 years. So, when we're talking about uh, different online resources, what exactly do we mean? Well, the first one we're going to list here is the county websites themselves. The county websites are something that we've seen pop up over the last 20 years for the most part. They are, and they've always been, the standard for property research. Okay, when you sell a house and you get title insurance on that, the title company, the title search company, they go through and do a complete search on the history of that property before they'll offer any kind of insurance on it. But it is something that is still used in some cases. But the information that they get uh, for that report comes from county websites and the various places where the counties have online records. So it really is the standard when it comes to accurate property information. I mentioned this previously here, but this is really a skill that will apply to all real estate investing, meaning that learning how to research property for tax sales is also the same that you would learn to research property in general. So these are skills that you'll be able to use throughout your life. Um, Beyond just county websites, though, county websites popped up, and we noticed in the beginning that there was a difference between basic websites that had some functionality and websites that were highly functional. And what really separated some of those sites were things like an online record system. It was the online record capabilities of websites that really changed everything for this. So when we say online record system, we're talking about the county having all of their records available online with search tools that make it easy to access those files and to search for specific files. Now, in addition to the records that we have with the county, which those are going to include records related to the taxation of the property, what's been paid. We're going to have records there related to the assessment of the property. We'll have records related there to, the ownership of the property, and the overall taxation history. What's been paid and what hasn't. We're also going to get a county map, usually with each property record, or if not the county map, then we'll have a link to a GIS mapping system that the county uses, which is an interactive mapping system. Yeah, very handy and something that makes it much easier to perform due diligence on properties. Using the GIS map system, we can find out within just a minute what the property is shaped like and essentially where it's at. We can determine its overall size. We can determine its viability, based on that. So these are very handy tools. These uh, county maps and GIS systems even give us the ability to do things like play with layers on it, so that we can look at different years aerial views if we want. There are so many things you can do with these county records. Now, something to be said about county websites is that they are all unique for the most part, and they are all inherently somewhat difficult to navigate. Really, what it comes down to is the only way to get good at a county website is through practice on it. And so, it's a matter of getting on the county website and just beginning to use it. And as you use it, you'll become more proficient with it. So the county websites are a big part of the way that we get records, but there are a number of other tools that are also available online now that have become so impressive. Google Earth is one of those. If you aren't aware of what it is, it's a satellite imaging program, but you've probably seen it before. It also offers street view images that they're able to obtain through the car they have driving around the United States with a camera on top of it. But what I wanted to say about Google Earth, though, is that it's a very handy system for a couple different reasons. The fact that it has that street view is really handy and helpful to investors. But also, there are other things about it that are nice. It's highly accurate. It's very easy to use. It's a very flexible system too when it comes to trying to look up different locations based on partial addresses and things like that. So it's actually a really good system to use when you're trying to narrow down and locate exactly where a property's at if you don't already have a physical address for it. Then Google Earth is a good way to figure out exactly what the physical address is. It also provides us with dates on all those images, so we know about exactly how old those images are. That's important, when we're trying to determine overall condition and things like that, to have an idea of exactly how old that is. But again, it's free and very, very helpful. If you're not using it in your research, then it's definitely something you should start using all the time. Another online resource, taxsalesupport.com, which is us. And just quickly here, uh, you know, with us, you get the training manuals and training videos. You also save time by not needing to search for tax sale lists. You're able to download tax sale lists, access an auction calendar to see what sales are taking place. You also can link directly to many of these third-party online auction providers. We also have a huge over-the-counter database and additional training features like the state guides, which will help out immensely if you're moving from state to state in figuring out how a particular place works. So, in addition to that, we also answer a lot of questions for people. And so, I would definitely consider us to be an online resource that will save you a lot of time. Now, property valuation services are services like Zillow, and they're not the only service out there. There are several services, but Zillow is the one that we use most often because, again, it is a very good website that has been well thought out, and they've worked a lot of the bugs out on it. So it works very well. and the values on it are seem to be fairly accurate, or as close to accurate as they can make them. The values are based on comps. You can also see things like what sold in the area recently. I mean, there are so many different tools on Zillow that if you haven't spent some time on the website just figuring out the tools, and that's a good idea as well, just because there's so much there that you can do. Now, in addition to the property valuation websites like Zillow, you also have a number of third-party online auction providers. These are online auction companies that essentially work with various counties to help them put their auctions online. And so each one of these is a great resource, very valuable, and there are some more than just these, but these are the main players. We're talking about realauction.com, the Grant Street Group, bidforassets.com, and SRI Auctions. There, like I said, though, there are new companies popping up all the time because this is getting easier, and there are more and more counties switching over to these types of systems. So uh, the process is only getting easier, and that's great for tax sale investors. It means that you can get started now, and the timing has literally never been better. It's never been easier than it is right now, and it's not like it's something that's overly saturated, so there aren't good deals. The vast majority of people still don't really understand it well enough to pursue it as an investment. So um, we hope you've enjoyed this brief training on different online resources available to you. If you are new to Stephen and I, or to tax sale support, if you would like additional free training information like a free ebook, you can go to secretsoftaxliensinvesting.com to download that. Or you can also always go to taxsalesupport.com, which is our main membership site, if you'd like to sign up there. Thanks so much, and be sure to subscribe to the video.